an original.
From Story Studio Network.
Welcome to The Fatigue Fixer, the podcast where we get real about why you're so tired and what you can do about it. Every 2 weeks, we'll gather here for honest, heart-to-heart conversations about reclaiming your energy, your patience, and feeling truly at home in your body. I'm Dr. Sarah Vedmonkar, a naturopathic doctor, Menopause Society certified practitioner, Enneagram 3 entrepreneur with enough business ideas to last me 10 lifetimes, and a hockey and baseball mom. Over the past 15 years, I've helped thousands of women just like you cut through the confusion and finally feel like themselves again. And now, I want to hear from you too. Use the link in the show notes below to leave me a voicemail, to share your story, give feedback on an episode, ask a question, or tell me what's been exhausting you. And your voice might even make it onto the show. Together, we'll get to the root of what's really draining your energy and give you the tools, clarity, and encouragement you need to fix your fatigue. I hope you enjoy today's episode. One of the things that drains us emotionally and mentally is trying to control things that are outside of our control. Other people's behaviors, their actions, their beliefs, what political party they vote for. There's a part of us that thinks if they just acted and behaved like I do, which is obviously the superior way, then everything would be better. We think that we have more control than we do over other people, and we waste our precious energy on something we can't actually control. On the flip side, we actually have a lot of control over our own thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, and especially our actions. But we often go through our days blaming everything from work to our kids, emails, traffic, even the weather. Anything that we can think of that allows us to get off the hook for not doing the thing we keep saying we're going to do. It makes me think of that very popular serenity prayer, which goes something like this. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, today I've invited someone to help us see and know the difference. Olga Lacroix is a mom, registered social worker, and master certified coach who helps high achievers so they can feel calmer, more confident, and more fulfilled in both their personal and professional lives. With more than 20 years of experience, she works with ambitious professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs, and parents who are ready to break free from burnout, perfectionism, and relentless self-pressure, and build a life that feels successful on the inside as well as the outside. Through her practice, Olga's Way, she helps clients overcome anxiety, self-doubt, people-pleasing, and chronic overwhelm so they can set healthier boundaries, trust themselves, strengthen their relationships, and lead with clarity and confidence. Her approach blends evidence-based psychology with practical coaching, compassion, and a healthy dose of real-life experience, empowering clients to create sustainable habits and meaningful results that last. When she's not working with clients, you'll find her spending time with her husband and son, writing, traveling, and exploring what it means to live a meaningful life beyond achievement. Olga, welcome to The Fatigue Fixer.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And before we hit record, I asked you, what do you want to talk about? And I said, I want to talk about control. And you said, that's a conversation I have with people every day.
Yep.
So I'm very excited for us to dive into that. I wonder if we can go back in time a little bit before we kind of jump into the self-control, because I think it'll maybe help set the stage for our listeners. When you and I first met, which I think was about a year ago, we were both speaking at our friend Leslie's gym to a group of women. And we were joking that we were both fighting for the stage because we both love speaking so much. We have the opposite of stage fright. We have stage... Passion. Yes. And you spoke so beautifully about your life story and your childhood. Can you share a little bit about what things were like for you growing up? And in your intro, you talk about this relentless self-pressure. Where did that start for you?
I was born with it. No.
Great.
One of
5 kids, you have to do something amazing.
Yeah, I didn't even know you were one of 5. So there we go.
I'm one of 5 kids.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm kid number 4. At that point, your parents are like, whatever, we've done it all. If this kid can, just raise yourself. Good luck. I'm like, no, I exist. No, in all honesty, I was teary-eyed when you read the Serenity Prayer, because I think throughout my life, that has been the thing, my mantra. Like, there are so many things I cannot control. Grant me the serenity to like handle that difference, to understand the difference. And I would say that throughout my life, in very different life events, and the most recent would have been 5 years ago through infertility, I've been reminded ever so gently by life that I don't control everything, and that hardships are part of life. And no matter how hard, quote unquote, you work, how hard you try, how good you've been, because I think that's a bit of a trap that we fall for. But I've done all the things. How come the outcome I want hasn't arrived? And so from a very early, like I almost died when I was 10 years old from a misdiagnosed appendicitis. Could have been really easy, in and out of the hospital. Instead, 60% of my body died because it was misdiagnosed by 3 doctors. I am convinced it was meant to be exactly this way. There were no errors, although there were medical errors. There were no errors in my life. But from that early age, honestly, I believe that I understood, things are not how you think they're going to be. Nobody thinks they're going to die at 10 or they're close to dying at that age. I became aware life was really fragile and that it mattered. It really did matter. The day-to-day matter more than perfection, more than at the time good grades at school or, having great friends. I think that life experience shifted in some ways, but in other ways, I became really controlling of what I thought I could control, like my health. That became a really big source, and it was going to be even more so later in life, where I just wanted to control all things that were not controllable. So as much as I learned at that point in my life happens, planned or unplanned, and it's going to be difficult or it's going to be easy, and you're going to be lucky or you're not going to be lucky. I count my blessings that I am alive and that later I was able to give life. So early in my brain development, I learned that, you can be scared of things too. And so that's when I think I started my own battle with just being really good so nothing bad happens. That idea of if only I control all things, maybe the other shoe never quite drops. Kind of like living life in that, walking on eggshells a little bit. So understanding life is going to happen. And also, what if I could control so that life doesn't happen the way I don't want it to happen?
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of us, we're a very similar age. We're in our 40s. A lot of us were sold this idea growing up that if you got the good grades and you got the degree and you got the stable job and the husband and the kids and the house, like if you checked all the good boxes, you were kind of guaranteed this happy outcome. Right. And I think a lot of us went and checked all the boxes and more. And now on paper, like our lives look amazing. And little 8 or 10-year-old Sarah and Olga would look at our lives and be like, wow, you guys did it. Like, it's so amazing. And it is. But for so many women I talk to who have this life that looks beautiful on paper, inside, there's this feeling of like, is this it?
Not enoughness.
It's not enoughness. It's not enough. They still want more, or they feel bad because they feel like they should feel happier than they actually do with the life that they've created. What are some of the patterns that you're seeing in the women that you coach around this like goodness and what that actually looks like in real life?
So have you heard or read the book Mindset, of growth mindset versus my God, my brain. It will come back to me.
I've read all the mindset books, but maybe not
it's
that
called
specific.
Mindset by Carol.
Okay.
Anyways, it will come back to me.
That's okay.
She talks about the way in which we have been traditionally been taught in schools and at home, which is based on outcome. Seek the outcome. And so the research was done in kids, adolescents, and adults. And those kids who were really good in school, that we were always, wow, you're so smart, good, you got the good grade, later in life became liars when they were not so good. They will hide their mistakes because they were so conditioned to the good result. So when life got tough, they didn't have the skills to be like, I can do hard things. I failed once, but I'm going to try again. These children, and now this is people like you and I in their 40s who were raised based on the outcome. What was your grade? That's all it matters, not the effort. So Carol says that growth mindset, fixed mindset is the so we were all raised on fixed mindset, which is outcome based. 99% of my clients, because I don't keep stats, so I don't want to tell you 100%. Sure. So this is completely out of my own, my own inaccurate mathematical stats process here.
Yeah.
Will be absolutely driven by the outcome. And if the outcome takes longer, if the outcome isn't exactly as they wanted it, they will not celebrate. They will not feel that it was good, or like most times it's excellent, but to their own standards, it's not even good enough. So we focus on outcomes. Now, growth mindset, and this is how I'm attempting to raise my child, which is a mind shift. It's on effort. So, wow, you put so much effort at that game. I saw the effort you put. I am never commenting on his outcome. Whether it was like they score, like that's irrelevant to me, although I do have a very competitive child who cares about the score, and I'm not going to ignore what he cares about. But for me, I'm raising him to be focused on effort. With my clients, I bring them back to that journey. We've all heard it. It's all about the journey. It's not where you land.
Right.
Well, there is so much joy when you can actually think about the journey. Oh my God, but I was so disciplined. Okay, maybe I didn't lose the 10 pounds, but I was so disciplined. I was so committed. I lifted heavier, right? Like, so that's when you're choosing to think about, but how much effort did I put in? And opposite to that, Sarah, there is the people who are endlessly frustrated with their results and they're never looking at, but how much effort. And then they'll see like, actually, I've never been to the gym once. So no wonder I have no muscle.
Correct. Well, and bringing in the control piece is a lot of us think we control the outcomes a lot more than we do. Weight is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. You could be exercising and eating well. No one here is in 100% control of our weight. That would make weight loss really easy. Mm-hmm. But because we're so focused on the outcome, like you said, if we don't get the exact result that we believe we are entitled to based on our effort, we feel like the whole journey was worthless. And the part that we can control are the actions, right? That's the journey. That's the only part you can actually control are the actions, not the outcome.
And how you think about the outcome.
Yes.
And how you think about the actions. So you said something powerful, which is what we believe to be enough, what we believe. And I would like to acknowledge for everybody listening that the majority of our thoughts are inaccurate, are based on ideas we formed somewhere along the line, like the life, that were not accurate. So we make a lot of assumptions. Like my coaching job is to pinpoint that, is that an assumption? What is fact? Is that an assumption? What is fact? Because we grab an assumption. Anybody listening to me here right now might say, Olga is French. That's where her accent is from. And not question it and walk around life thinking, Sarah interviewed somebody who is French. Oh, but maybe she's Russian because her first name is Olga. Like, and that's it. And they walk around life believing this is the truth. Sarah interviewed somebody who was French. It isn't the stopping and questioning, what evidence do I have? Well, her last name. And what evidence do I have? That you get to question how accurate your thoughts and therefore your beliefs. Because what are beliefs? repeated thoughts. You just have the same thought over and over and over. Now I believe that Sarah interviewed, and sometimes it's just once. It takes once to say like that's the case. I'm Colombian. I don't speak French. I don't speak Russian. I'm just have a, Russian first name, French last name, because I like confusing people.
I love it.
So it is in those moments, I think, Sarah, that we get to think, what is enough? When am I going to say I've done enough? What tells me? And that's what gives you control over your own standards, not some made up standards that you picked up somewhere along the way. Who knows how?
I think that's been one of the biggest shifts for me personally in the last few years, is that the way that I used to define a successful day had to do with the outcome, the output. How much did I get done? How many things on my list did I cross off, right? How much did I accomplish? And the issue for me with that, and for so many women, is that the list never actually is done. It's you are trying to finish something that is never actually going to be finished. So no matter how much you get done in a day, you inevitably end the day feeling like you didn't do enough because there's no actual end to the possibility of things that you can do. And what that meant for me is that I rarely felt calm. I always felt like I was not doing enough, even though I was objectively doing a lot all the time. It was this very like unsettling feeling. And it was also mentally and emotionally exhausting because I always felt like, okay, if I just like get a better planner, or if I get the right coach, or if I rejig my schedule, like I just got to find the right jigsaw puzzle and it'll all like, I'll find. And one day I was like, Sarah, the problem is that your success is based on something, number one, that like is an outcome and is not always in the control and will never be done. And now the way that I view a successful day is, how did I feel in my day? Did I feel rushed? Did I go to bed feeling like I didn't get enough done? Or was I able to take bathroom breaks when I needed them and make a nice lunch and eat it not rushed, and go to bed feeling like I probably didn't get through my list because I always put too many things on it. But you know what? I got a lot done today, and whatever I got done feels good enough. Yeah. And that's the shift that I think. The shift. Yeah.
And that is one of the 5 steps I teach my clients about. There's 2 things that you mentioned in there. One is what I call strategic recovery. So I remember going into, not you, another naturopath doctor for my supplements. And Zara, I had a bag this big.
Yes.
Like a big square bag full of supplements. Yeah. And I must have paid, I don't know, I want to say $600. And as I'm paying, I said to the receptionist, I'm like, I can't, who was Jamaican. And this is relevant because lifestyle matters. And so I'm paying to her. And I said to her, like, I can't believe I have to take all of these supplements. And like, this is almost like a grocery bill. Not almost, a grocery bill.
It is, yeah.
And she says, isn't it crazy that we insist on having such a lifestyle that is draining us, and we're just willing to pay for the supplements to keep us going at that rate? Sarah, that was life-changing. She doesn't know how much impact that comment had on me. I was like, oh my God, it's not about getting more supplements to have more energy to continue to overdo. Yes. It's about changing my lifestyle, my pace, what I expect of me in a week, in a day, in a month.
Yeah.
And so I was telling you, this is part of the work that I do with my clients for strategic recovery. The first part is emotional, because we have such a resistance to do less, because it comes from an emotional place where they now have to look at their worthiness, their actual perception of who am I. If I don't have like this ongoing, if I'm not important enough to have all of this,
if I'm not producing all the time and achieving, who am I?
So for those who are mothers, I ask you to think, and I ask you, Sarah, to think of this. What does your son has to do to become enough to your eyes?
Nothing. He's just be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The same is true to all of us.
I know.
Just existing. That's it. That's what we came here to do. To exist. And I use a child because to me, his existence is everything. Just knowing that he exists, it's all my heart needs to know to be so fulfilled and happy.
Mm-hmm.
His lack of, that would be devastating. I didn't even think about it, right? Like, so his existence, that's it. He doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah. But we don't extend ourselves that grace,
No.
right? We don't extend ourselves that love and that kindness. And I find, especially for mothers, like the love and the patience and the kindness and everything that we pour into our kids, because they are worthy, just because they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to earn it. They don't need to do anything. We freely give it. We withhold all of that from ourselves unless we feel like we have done enough to earn it or we've been good enough to earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like spotting what I called the I mean, I've called it the enemy, but I've also call it the crazy of the house, which is a part of my brain who's a jerk and is constantly saying things about me that I disagree with. If I heard them out loud by somebody else, I would probably end that relationship very quickly. And that is simple. It is within me to acknowledge, oh my gosh, look at the quality of the thoughts I'm having about my experience, about my progress, about where I am in life. It is so mean. And of course, it's having an impact in my confidence. Of course, it's having an impact in how I act. That's why I'm overdoing. It is not, and often we say them. They will say, they will think.
Who are the they?
Who's they?
Who's they?
Well, my mom, well, my coworkers. Will they really say not good enough? You're not good enough. You're good for nothing. You amount to nothing. Chances are that no, they wouldn't. And so it's catching. I have a practice where I write down all the thoughts. Whenever I'm feeling down, like, oh my God, I didn't do enough, I write all those thoughts and I look at them. I'm like, wow, no wonder I'm feeling down. Look at the narrative. What the coach is telling me. The coach is telling me that I'm going to fail, that I'm not good enough, that, like it's not a coach. It's a mean inner voice.
Yes.
And so that's when self-compassion comes in. And that's when I remember, like, wow, I am worthy just as I am, imperfect and all. Like, take that deep inhale and just come back to how can I reframe these thoughts? What would I be telling somebody? It's funny. I did an exercise with my clients the other day where we each play a different voice for the client. So the client will expose a problem. Like, I don't think I did well enough with this project of mine. And so she would give us all the inner dialogue. Which, funny enough, it was embarrassing to them. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to tell you all the things that I thought about myself that are so mean. So one of my clients, so it was a group. One of them would be the mean inner voice. Another one would be the judge, because we also have a judge, right? Like judging everything we say. And another one was friendly, compassion. And so my clients will expose the thing. And then each of these women would just take the role play and just play that role of like the mean inner voice, whatever. All of my clients who did the exercise were saying when the mean inner voice showed up or the judge, all they wanted to do was like, but you don't know the whole story. But you don't know how far I walked before that. But you don't know. And that's ideal. That's what I want people to think through when they're being so mean or they're judging themselves. You do know the whole story. So there is room for compassion. You know how hard it is right now. So don't make it harder. Like that's where self-compassion can come. And strategic thinking strategic recovery comes from understanding nothing. Like even athletes need recovery time.
Yes.
It's part of their training. Like you're good at this. You talk about it all the time. Like how can you take that lunch and that's all you're doing, lunch?
Yes. But I was saying about that when we were talking earlier. So one of the practices that I've been doing right now is really forcing myself to eat undistracted. And what it is showing me about myself is how little tolerance I have
for focus,
for focus, for boredom, and for not being distracted. I will grab for my phone like within 3 minutes and then I'm like, nope, put it back, put it away. You don't need a phone. I'll grab a book, like anything to keep me away from just sitting with me and my thoughts and my food. And I think that's part of why so many of us keep ourselves busy from the minute we wake up until the minute we go to bed, is that our tolerance and our capacity to tolerate actual rest, boredom, silence, and to be with our thoughts are very mean, for a lot of us, very mean negative thoughts. Of course we distract ourselves. Who wants to sit in that discomfort?
And it's also a sign of an undisciplined mind. So we've been conditioned to do many things at once. Women, we are like,
yes,
look at me.
Multitaskers.
Yes.
Yeah. Look
if
at
there's
me.
anything I loved about my husband is that he teaches me on a regular basis how to monotask.
Yes.
And so I always give this example. We're driving to the cottage. It's 45 minutes away. I had my phone out. I had like birthday parties sent out, like blah, 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 blah. The list was gone, And we still like have 30 minutes to drive. So in 15 minutes, overdoer, did everything. I look around and ever so calm, Chris is just like driving, looking in front. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, what are you thinking about? Chris is like, what? Like, what are you thinking about?
Every man's favorite question.
I'm a specialist. I've mastered
love it.
The art of asking what he loves to be asked. And he was like, I'm driving. And I'm like, I see you're driving, but what else are you doing while you're driving? So that is a disciplined mind. I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's enough. So in mindfulness, they call it the monkey mind. It goes from branch to branch to branch to branch. And it's not so much because you have negative thoughts, although partially, but because you have not trained the brain. You have not trained the mind to be on the task. So, for example, when I'm eating my lunch, I try to make it interesting by what colors do I see? What does this sound like? What flavors can I taste? Mm-hmm. This is cold. It becomes so joyful. That's the promise of mindfulness. There is joy when you bring all your senses to the present task. And truly, it occupies your brain when you are hearing, thinking, smelling, tasting, touching if you can.
It also brings you back into your body, right? It brings you into the moment, which is better for your digestion, for those who need that reminder. Because most of us are going through motions, but mentally we're somewhere completely different. Like our bodies are doing one thing and our mind is somewhere completely different. We're not in our bodies most of the time.
This reminds me, one of the first times I had a cue that maybe gluten wasn't good for my body. I was taking a mindfulness training in Toronto. So I live in Ottawa. Toronto is far for me. Rushing to make it, of course, in time to my workshop because I am South American and I tend to run on a different timeline. But it was important because we started with a meditation and it was a silent meditation. So I grabbed what I could for breakfast, which was very unlikely for me, but I grabbed a muffin. I ate this muffin. And then I went and I sat down. And oh my God, I'm like, what is this muffin doing to my body? I was so in the body. I'm like, it's not the right food for me. And so when we had to do the check-in, I'm like, all I could think about was I'm trying to digest something my body is having a really hard time digesting. How many times, I'm sure you do a lot of food testing and people are not aware. They have no clue because what we're eating, we're in a meeting and or doing a to-do list or we're doing something else. And you're like, I have no time to think what caused my bloatedness today. Yeah. No idea.
Yeah. And then we're shocked that we're bloated. That's the best part. I don't understand. Like you ate while you did 400 other things. You weren't actually digesting whatever the heck you were eating.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Are you tired of being told everything is normal, even though you're exhausted and don't feel like yourself? You deserve better care than that. In my one-on-one practice, I help women just like you do a deep dive to figure out what's really draining your energy. Together, we'll get answers and create a clear, personalized plan to help you start feeling like yourself again. If you live in Ontario or the Outaouais region and you're ready for the next step, visit drsarahv.ca to learn more and book your appointment today. Because being tired all the time isn't normal, and you don't have to keep pushing through it. I want to come back to like the control. Earlier when you were talking about like how we judge ourselves, one of the things that I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what we judge in ourselves, whether we're aware of judging ourselves or not, is often the same things that we judge in others. So you talked about being late, right? If you're always getting real upset that other people are late, it might be because there's some part of you that is judging your own inability to show 100%. Up on time. Mm-hmm. And let's talk about, you said before we hit recording, like this idea of the God complex, how we're trying to like judge and control other people. And the reason that I wanted to bring you on to have this conversation is that part of what we're really talking about in this season of the Fatigue Fixer is this idea of helping women get out of energy debt, to stop spending energy in places where it's being wasted. And this is such a giant energy suck for so many of us, is the amount of time we spend judging other people. So talk to us about what you're seeing with the women that you work with.
It's so interesting because this has two ends. What I see is lack of self-agency.
Okay.
And as a result, then we try to control everybody else. Okay. So first, I want to say, what is the opposite of control?
Trust?
Yes.
Yes.
You got it.
My good girl student is like, yes, I got it.
She got it. Trust. And what I find interesting is that I hear a lot of my clients utilizing the word trust when they mean to say control. I want to trust that my husband is going to pick up the garbage at 7 p.m., put it outside, blah, blah, blah. And so I tell him, I'm trying to trust that you will. Like, trust or control? Because trust would mean hands off.
Correct.
I might remind Chris, like, this needs to happen. And then I just trust that it will happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is that important, that notion? Because when we feel unstable, when we feel out of control internally, we want to control the outside. Mm-hmm. And yes, I call this the God complex. When we, for a second, and it is a mental trap, it is a cognitive distortion that we lose reality for a second, when we believe that I somehow can interject people's ways of thinking, belief system, and actions by repeating myself 20,000 times, by making threats that I'm going to leave by telling them that they need to go see somebody if they don't, So the illusion is that we control others. And normally we have an expectation associated with, I will control your behavior, Sarah. You're going to start eating breakfast every morning and I'm doing all the things that I can do. And often people come to me, Olga, I've done it all. I'm exhausted. I can do one more thing to get this guy to change, whatever. And not all my clients complain about their husbands, but sometimes they do. Or it could be their boss, or it could be their child, or their grown child, like anybody. Somebody, a friend.
Yes.
And the thinking is, I've done everything. I'm free here. Like, I've done everything. I'm just trying to help them by controlling them. On the flip side of that, who likes to be controlled?
No one.
No one. What do you do if somebody tries to control you, Sarah?
You rebel. You do the opposite. You push back.
If you're healthy, you do that.
Yes,
if you're not healthy, you're going to try to appease for some time until also you will explode and say, like, I've had enough. I can't make you happy. I don't know how to make you happy. Let me be me. Okay? And that is the controller's worst nightmare. Yes. that person will rebel themselves. and it is the end. So the work is about self-agency. What do I mean by that? Owning what bothers me. Owning what's in my hands. So like expectations, in my opinion, over myself or somebody else lead to disappointment. So I own what expectations I place. And if I place expectations, so that's one thing. Because we know we don't control many things, we feel vulnerable. We
Mm-hmm.
feel unprepared. We feel at risk of something bad happening. Like the God complex is that I control everything and everybody's always going to be good.
Yeah. It gives us the illusion of
The
safety.
illusion. Mhm.
Yeah.
But first of all, everybody has to do what I said.
Yes. Because my way is obviously the best way.
Or yes, or like they wouldn't say it like that, my times, but they'll
No.
be like, I know them and I know that, and that's all inaccurate. You don't know, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there is this fear of imperfection happening, of losing something, of missing something if things are not perfect. That thought on its own overdrives us so much to overdo, overcompensate, overcontrol. But if we instead adopt a thought of no matter what, I'm going to be okay. We are going to be okay. We're going to figure this out. That will instantly calm your nervous system. Maybe you do believe there is a God and you let God be God and you just come back to your human condition of all I control is my mindset,
Mm-hmm.
is my thinking and my behavior. And the less I try to carry their load, the easier life is going to become for me.
And you're probably, in my experience, when you stop trying to control, you actually end up more likely to get the thing you were trying to get in the first place because the person will do it willingly, not because they feel like they're being forced. And energetically, that feels very different, even if it's the same thing, right? The taking out the trash. If someone takes out the trash after you've had to tell them 20 times, the trash is out, but you feel like shit and they feel like shit. If you release and you say, they will take out the trash or not, and no matter what, we'll all be okay, and they take out the trash voluntarily, everyone's happier and the trash is still on the sidewalk, right? Like, it is very different when people do things out of their own volition. And if they don't do it out of their own volition, that's just information for you to have, and you can decide what to do with it. But the amount of energy that we spend trying to yes, be God, play God, control everything, make people the way that we think that they should be, that they're supposed to be, that we want them to be, it's a huge energy trap for so many women.
The biggest. And a setup to not feel enough because you can never fulfill God's shoes, right?
Yeah.
You can never know the future. You can never protect everybody from anything bad happening. And so you're on a regular, constant self-disappointment.
Well, and not only that, is that your worth is tied not just to your own outcomes, but the outcomes of people that, again, you can't control. So now it's not just, I need to perform and to be good in order to feel worthy. I need my child to perform and to be great. And I need my partner to do this and to do that. And my sister and my dog and my friend. And now it's like,
because
no
it's
wonder.
all a reflection of me.
Of course.
We basically bring it all back to me.
Yes.
If my kid did well in school, it's because of me. If they didn't, it's because of me. If my husband is, healthy, it's because of me. If he isn't, it's because, that's where the child in us lives. The children are egocentric. Everything is their fault.
Yes.
No matter what, is because of them. So couples separate, children immediately assume, unless you correct that thought, they were bad. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that child lives within all of us, no matter how old we are. So it's important for us to recognize, wow, I'm taking personally something that doesn't belong to me. Ladies, this does not mean I no longer care. Do not confuse setting a nice boundary for yourself so that you can be free from extras that don't belong to you, from caring. I am the most caring human I can possibly be. I actively work on being caring. And that does not equal carrying my brother's loads, my husband's loads, my son's loads. It's hard because I was taught that caring means, overextending and overdoing. Or I understood the teaching that way. But now I can care and walk alongside your mistakes. I'll be watching you suffer because I know you can overcome this. I'll just be here. That is my role. My role is not to prevent it because I cannot.
But I think part of this is that most people don't understand what boundaries are. I think people think boundaries is like, here's what you're going to do and here's what I'm going to do. And that's not a boundary, because again, a boundary has nothing to do with anybody else. A boundary is, if this happens, this is what I will or will not do. This is my line. This is what I will tolerate. It actually has nothing to do with what other people are doing. So can you talk about boundaries and how they fit into this?
So I make all my clients do an energy audit.
Love it.
And we do this almost on a regular basis because that will shift day by day or week by week. So today, if I was to look at my day today, what is energetically, what's draining my energy emotionally, and what's adding energy to my emotional tank? What's taking energy from my health, physical, and what is adding energy to my physical health? So I divide the, mind, body, soul, and we just go into like relationships. What's draining me? What's adding energy? Yeah. Once you have that awareness, then you can choose, area of growth identified by this is draining my energy. So this person's issues are draining me. Then get curious. What's going on there? Like, am I trying to fix, prevent, not let them have a hard emotion? Do I actually control that? If the answer is no, then what kind of boundary do I need to place with myself?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, because I could tell anybody, I don't like the way you talk to me. If you talk to me like that, blah, blah, blah. They no longer hear it because you probably said it 5,000 times and you've never taken action to change this. If they're not the problem and you're not the problem, what is the problem? And if the problem is not personal, it's a lot easier to set that boundary. Okay, so boundaries are part of this energy audit that I help people do so that they can begin to make choices differently that feel empowering and, most importantly, freeing. I want to feel free, light. Like, life has to be free and easy and light, and I want that for people. So the moment you recognize, I notice Sarah always interrupts me. Oh, I feel really awkward about telling her that she's always interrupting me. Okay, maybe I'm going to skip that part, but this is my plan. Next time Sarah interrupts me, I'm going to stay silent for a long time. Maybe until she's done talking. And if she asks me, what were you saying? I might say, I lost track of thought because you interrupted me. And that's going to be my response to that. Okay. Notice how I didn't say Sarah's going to have to stop interrupting me so that I can feel good about myself.
Yep.
I have let go of victim mode because, believe it or not, what's underneath is I'm a victim of Sarah's interruptions. Instead, I'm going to co-create or create an environment that I feel good about. If it's Thursday and it's trash day, I always tell Chris to take the garbage out and he forgets, like it's the most annoying thing. Next Thursday, I am going to take the garbage out. There's the freedom that comes with that, I'm like, all right, I got it. Done.
Yeah. It's done in 2 minutes instead of spending your whole day worrying about whether the trash gets taken out and then the whole next day furious because the trash didn't get took out or it only got taken out after you said it 48 times.
So yeah, what was draining my energy about the garbage was the talking 5,000 times about it.
Yes.
What gave me energy was to take the garbage out. And you know what? Now I do it. It's Thursday morning. I take the garbage out. It's part of what I do. I have changed my mindset all around it because he gave me freedom. Me, personally. I feel happy about taking my garbage out because I divided in my head whose responsibility that was. Because guess what? Even when it was his responsibility, it felt like mine because I was reminding him of doing it. Right? Yes. So I'm like, no, enough of this. I don't like nagging. Nobody likes to be nagged. Done.
Yeah. Done. I love it. All right. Before we finish, I want to come back to this idea you said earlier around like a lot of this comes from a lack of self-trust and a lack of agency. And it made me think of habits and how this is an area where we do have more control, I think, than we give ourselves credit for. We find all kinds of time. I don't have time. I don't, we insert all kinds of like excuses. And what I see happening is that we set a goal. We feel like we're not we're not in control of that goal. So we let other things, right? We have no boundaries. We let other things get in the way of that goal. Therefore, we don't do it. And that reinforces this mistrust that like, well, I said I was going to exercise, but I never do it. Therefore, I'm a person who doesn't meet her own needs, or I can't actually trust. How can we help women, whether it's mindset, whether it's building agency, like how do we help women actually feel more in control and act more in control of the things that are actually in our control?
So that's a really good point. I think that sometimes we borrow goals from other people and try to make them feel important to ourselves. And then in our lack of action, we realize, well, I guess I didn't care so much about this as Olga does.
That's a great point.
That's a really good point. Like, so when I say I am the CEO of my life, I kind of look at my life as I am the chief. I'm responsible for all areas of my life. And most of us, if I called you today and I say, Sarah, by the way, I've made you the CEO of the company. Most people be like, I like showing up as a mediocre employee and calling in sick whenever I feel like it. And I don't want to be in charge of all the departments. So we expect our employer to tell us it's time to take time off. You look a bit tired and it looks like you've working a lot of overtime hours. Take time off, which never happens. Then we're like, no, my employer doesn't give me, you know? Yes. Or we look at time and we're like, lack of time. We never think I've got time for all the things that matter to me. So we're victims of time. Or the doctor didn't properly tell me what to do and how to take care of my health, and therefore, or he didn't take care of my health, therefore I am here. So when I think of I am the CEO, it does come with responsibility. And one of those responsibilities is understanding the goals that I'm setting for myself. Where are they coming from? Comparison? The progress that I think I should be making based on what other people, or the things that my body actually needs, my mind needs, that give me joy. If we just go back to the goal is to be joyful, I wonder how many of you will be re-establishing your personal, professional goals. If the goal is to be joyful, like I believe that we failed at some of these goals because we set them with the wrong intention.
And we're waiting for the outcome to bring us the joy.
Exactly.
And we don't realize that your life is the journey. And if the journey doesn't bring joy, chances are the outcome is not going to bring it either, or it will bring very fleeting, very temporary joy.
There's a Spanish saying that is like, you can't cover the sunshine with a finger. So we try to sometimes be like, yes, it's just if I lose 10 pounds, I'll be happy.
Right.
If I change my marriage, I finally will have good communication with some other partner. If I finally become pregnant, I'm going to feel enough. If, you know, whatever it is that you're seeing joy as outside of yourself, I encourage you to bring it back inwards. Like to find the little things of joy. They will become the big things. If you can learn, if you don't have joy in your life, listen to me. This is an urgent matter for all of your attention. Joy is at the core of a healthy mental health, a healthy body, a healthy relationship, a healthy you. So the goal is to be joyful. And if you're not joyful, excellent. That's a great place to start. Let's look backwards. Like, okay, what am I, if I'm not joyful today, what decisions have I made in the past that brought me here today? And what would joyful living look like for me? For me, not for everybody else who would approve or disapprove, for me. And who and what can support me to get in there? You need a team, likely.
Absolutely. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
This was such a great conversation, as I knew it would be. We could chat like every time. I feel like we could chat for 2 more hours. Thank you for sharing all of our wisdom with our listeners. I want you to think about as you're just wrapping up this episode, for those of you who are listening, that 2 of your biggest energy expenses that Olga and I chatted about today are control, what you are trying to control that is not in your control, especially other people. And when you have a lack of trust, either in yourself or in other people. And then 2 of the biggest energy givers that you can tap into are joy and trust. Trust in yourself and trust in other people. So if you're trying to build more energy wealth, especially when it comes to your health, your mental health, your relationships, be very mindful of how much of your energy you're spending trying to control people. And try to create more time. Time is never going to magically land in your schedule. You have to grab it. You have to prioritize it. You have to protect it. But creating time for joy and for trust. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you right back here in 2 weeks. I know your time is precious, so it means so much to me that you're here. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a woman in your life who could use a little extra energy and encouragement today. It's a small way to show her you care, because we're all in this together. Wondering what the next step is? Find out what's really draining your energy by taking my fatigue fingerprint quiz at fatiguefixer.ca/quiz. You'll discover which of the 5 most common types of fatigue you're dealing with, like frazzled fatigue, where your body's exhausted but your mind won't turn off, or drained fatigue, where no amount of sleep ever feels like enough. Your results will include recommended labs to ask your doctor about, plus my top suggestions for habits and practices that can help you start feeling more rested, calm, and in control. Because here's the thing, being tired all the time isn't normal, and you deserve to feel like yourself again. And hey, if you've got a story to share, a question, or just something on your mind, leave me a voicemail. Your voice might even make it into a future episode. Thanks again for listening, and remember, it's not all in your head. I believe you, and we'll figure this out together. I'll see you right back here in 2 weeks.
This is SSN.
Story Studio Network.